If you're a Nittany Lion fan, you've probably heard Dean DeVore on more than one occasion. Many know his voice, but I got the chance to find out a little bit more about the man behind the mic. His voice is unmistakable.
22 yards on the touchdown play.
His passion for Penn State sports can be heard in every play he calls and every touchdown he announces.
Penn State football has always been part of my life and something that I care deeply and passionately about, and so it's amazing to be able to do what I do and contribute and be a part of the greatest show in college football.
Dean DeVore has been the public address announcer at DeVore Stadium for 11 years and says this job is a dream come true.
I do this job for the biggest reason is to give back to the student athletes. It's really about the young men, the young women who are on the field, who are on the court. It's their game. Dean got his start over 20 years ago when his roommates encouraged him to start announcing for Penn State sports. When I was younger, I started working in radio, and at that point I was living with some lacrosse players, and this was about 21 years ago, and they convinced me that they wanted me to do their games. They wanted me to be their public address announcer for their lacrosse games, so that's how it started. And kind of what happened was, as other coaches and other teams heard me, they said, I want Dean, I'd like Dean to do our game. So it just kind of grew and grew. When I started women's volleyball nationally was on a big upswing. That got me noticed nationally, and there was a stretch of 4 out of 5 years that I did the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. When the stadium came open, it'll be 11 years ago now, I was one of 8 people that tried out. And I think a combination of they knew who I was and the job I had done previously. Fortunately, I was able to get the job as being the voice of DeVore Stadium.
The work it takes to call each play and effortlessly pronounce each player's name doesn't happen overnight, and Dean says preparation is key.
I go over the visiting team's lineup. I start usually about Tuesday or Wednesday and start looking at their lineup, their depth chart, kind of anticipating where there might be some names that I'm going to say a lot that I may not know. I mean, it's probably about a 2 to 3 hour prep time to get to the game itself. And then the day of the game, I go over pronunciations and any information with the opposing sports information director and then our great sports information director, Jeff Nelson.
Dean says having his 2 spotters on hand helps to ensure the accuracy of each call.
As the ball's handed off or passed, the offensive spotter gives me the number of the people involved. I usually then make that announcement, and then the defensive spotter gives me the numbers of the players that were involved in the tackle. And then I usually make that announcement. Then we take a few seconds, figure out what the down and distance is, then I make that announcement. While that's going on, I also have in my earpiece Guido D'Elia and all the people that help make the greatest show in college football. So there's a lot going on up there. Some of it you can see and some of it you can't, and so makes for an interesting 3 hours. So by the time I'm done, I feel like I have a lot of voices in my head, and it's, I'm ready for some peace and quiet after the game.
No matter what else he does in life, Dean says nothing compares to being a part of some of the greatest moments in Penn State sports.
There's a lot of memories and a lot of kind of key moments. I can remember Adam Talaferro coming out of the tunnel, announcing his name after the comeback, announcing Joe Paterno's, at that time, 324th win, which was the signature win to get him #1 in active coaches. I mean, all those things, those little things, but it really goes back to the student athlete and making sure that their name is said right, that their accomplishments on the field and on the court are amplified and highlighted so that their experience here is good and we can all enjoy it.